Welcome back, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and everything in between, wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today, Nathan Bell's going to do another one of his commentary videos, and the subject topic for today is the Australian Liberal National Party.
Yeah. Well, I think about the Liberals a lot. I don't really like them. They're certainly not the sort of Liberal that I am. My liberalism is all about like art and freedom of expression and individuality. My liberalism is about me saying I don't have to conform and get a 9 to 5 job and work as a part of this economy. I can be a rock star if I want, and I can express myself freely as an individual and be as eccentric and unique and strange and weird as I want. My liberalism is all about being weird, because I'm a weirdo. I'm the biggest weirdo you'll ever meet. Go and watch my videos, you'll see. So my liberalism is all about my choice and my agency and my control and my freedom to be an absolute freak show, and nobody has the right to control how I behave. And that's certainly not what the National Party's liberalism is about. They do believe in individual liberty, but they take it from this economic perspective where it's like basically all they're saying is any individual business owner who is an Australian has the freedom and liberty to run their business however they want, and that means they can pay as little wages as they want. They can pay as little taxes as they want. They don't have to contribute to the community, and they can sack their workers for little things that are inconsequential, and they can exercise complete control over all their staff without any regulation by the state to protect workers' rights. And that's the Liberal National Party's economic business view of individual liberty. It is to say that the liberty of the individual extends to how they run their private business, and that's all the Liberal National Party is about when it comes to individual liberty. They certainly don't, many members of the Liberal National Party certainly don't respect people's choice to live alternative lifestyles or to adopt alternative views. They do say they respect religious freedom, which is again supposed to be about people's individual liberty to adopt whatever spiritual religious beliefs they want. But then they come out with all this Islamophobic crap, and this, their religious respect for religious freedom seems exclusive to Christians, and it's all. And guys like Scott Morrison just want to say that Christians have the right to be bigots and to abuse and to slander and to use hate speech against minority groups like gays, because that's their religious freedom, and that's the interpretation of religious freedom that guys like Scott Morrison have. It just basically says, oh, my book, the Bible, says that being gay is wrong, so it's my religious right to abuse and hate gay people. My religious freedom means that I can believe in ESP phenomena. It means that I can believe that the universe is a simulation created by some deity programmer. My religious freedom beliefs mean that I can believe in astral projection and out-of-body experiences. That's not the religious freedom that Scott Morrison and Tony Abbott and all these men are into. So their religious freedom views are exclusive to protecting Christians' rights to be bigots and hateful towards minority groups like homosexuals and people who believe in Islam. So they don't really believe in religious freedom. It's this biased, one-sided religious freedom, which is all about protecting Christians. But there are people liberals that are disenfranchised with the Liberal National Party for these reasons, for the religious Christian fundamentalism and the homophobia and the climate denying. And we see this with the Teal candidates, who are now separate to the Liberal Party, going their own way because they recognise that this is a corrupted liberalism that men like Scott Morrison, Tony Abbott and Peter Dutton present. It's corrupted, biased liberalism. It's not true liberalism. So we see Liberals like the Teal candidates separating from the Liberal Party and going their own way, because they're not homophobic, and they don't deny climate change and science, and they don't just present one-sided, bigoted, biased views. But I want to say about choice, my liberalism is about choice to live your own lifestyle as well, and I've said this about homosexuality before. people argue homosexuality is not a choice, you're born that way. I think it's irrelevant because who you want to have sex with is nobody's business as long as you're not having sex with minors or animals. As long as everything's consensual. If homosexuality is a choice, it's a fine choice. It's a perfectly acceptable choice. Only the ridiculous crap of the Bible and other religions says that homosexuality is a bad choice to make. You know, making the choice of being homosexual and having sex with someone of the same sex doesn't harm anyone, so it's not a bad choice. You know, the only bad choices are choices that harm other people or yourself in a negative way, and that is the only time that anyone has the right to criticise. See, my liberalism is all about choice, and again, I said, you know, it's about my choice to be a musician and a rock star, and to live a life devoted to art and creativity, and to reject the working class 9 to 5, which is the standard in our society. That's what my liberalism's about, and it's about my choice to adopt whatever beliefs I want and to be as much of a weirdo and a strange, eccentric man as I want, because I'm a very weird, strange, eccentric man. And it's all, my belief in choice is also about my choice to believe in alternative views, alternative narratives, and to not be forced to accept the state's narrative. So the Liberals are about small government, but their small government is all about minimising government and allowing business to take control, and about allowing the private sector to dominate society. So, you know, I think it's good when business can be free to promote innovation. You know, I do believe business can do some good in the world, and if we let business be free to explore new ideas, business can produce good technology in the world, and business can produce wealth in the world, which benefits society. But I really don't think we want to abolish the government completely and have everything run by the private sector. You know, we need the government to come in and say that people are entitled to a minimum wage and that workers have rights, because it protects human rights. So the Liberals are about minimising government, and that's why I say liberalism is anarchy. Anarchy is liberalism. They're the same thing. It's about minimal government. But what men like Scott Morrison want is they want to minimise government and allow the private sector to dominate the world, and you know, that's a bad thing, because people are abusive, and you know, workers' rights won't be respected, and people will be paid slave wages like they are in other parts of the world, where they'll be paid $2-3 a day to manufacture goods that are then sold on at a massive profit. You know, we need the state to some extent to come in and say workers have rights and workers are entitled to a minimum wage and holiday leave, because it's human rights. You know, people aren't slaves to business. But that's all the Liberal National Party's minimising government is about. It's just about letting private business take control of society. And that's why I say to anarchists, anarchy is a right-wing philosophy. It's a liberal philosophy. Anyone who thinks that anarchy is a left-wing philosophy, it doesn't understand liberalism and doesn't understand anarchy, because once you abolish the state, you're left with the free market. I've said this before, and that's what the men like Scott Morrison want when they talk about minimising government and small government. You know, and lowering taxes. You know, I often weigh up whether a person is obliged to pay tax, because in my mind, a person has the right to reject society and to not participate in society. And that's also what my liberalism is about. It's about rejecting society and not participating in society as an act of protest against society. And from that perspective, I could see that a person shouldn't have to pay tax to the state. But really, we need people to pay tax to the state so that we're all contributing to the community. So Liberals are always about lowering tax. And again, that's their interpretation of individual liberty and freedom. It's a bastardised, corrupted interpretation of liberty and freedom. It's certainly not the liberalism that I'm about. My liberalism is about rejecting society and going your own way as an act of protest because you dislike the conventions of society. I dislike many of the conventions of our society, so I reject this society. As a liberal and an individual, I reject this society. So I would say, in that vein, I'm not going to pay tax to the state because it's an act of protest against the state. But when the Liberal National Party say you shouldn't have to pay too much tax to the state, it's just about saying that rich people should be able to keep all their money and not contribute to the community. So, you know, my interpretation of liberalism is very far removed from the interpretation of liberalism that men like Scott Morrison and Tony Abbott have. And my interpretation of liberalism, again, has nothing to do with Christian fundamentalism. And it's your choice what religion you believe in. So a real liberal would respect any Islamic person's right to adopt the Islamic religion, because it's your choice what religion you prescribe to, and that's what liberalism says. It's all about choice. So there's some of my views on the bastardised philosophy and ideology of members of the Liberal National Party. So drop a comment in the comment section about what you think about the Liberal National Party.